Hello everybody and welcome to how to set up your computer for use with government websites. All of the following steps are necessary for Windows 7, 8, and 10 users. Now there are a few specific variances between Windows 7 and Windows 10 that need to be addressed, but we will get to that later on in the video. Now if you have already gone to militarycac.com and followed some of the steps on there, I ask that you do every single step in this video just as I do it, regardless if you have already done it before. There are certain steps that everyone tends to skip while going through this process, and if you skip through the video, there's a good chance that you may miss that step and you will not be able to get your computer to work. Now that being said, we will be using militarycac.com as a guide. There are some Windows 10 Anniversary Edition specific settings that we need to address later on the video, but I ask that you do not skip to those steps because all of the things we will be doing in the beginning of this video is absolutely necessary for you to be able to log on anyways. Now the first thing we need to do is go to militarycac.com. Now, I would put a link in the description below for a direct download for the DoD certificates, but as the military updates their certificate stores, the link I would put in the description would be invalid. So it would be a very good idea every few months to go to militarycac.com, go to Step 3, DoD certificates, and then make sure you have the newest version of Install Root 5.0.1 or whatever version number it is at the time. Just a few months ago, it was 5.0.0, and every few months they will release new certificates, maybe a few years, but you always want to make sure that you have the newest version installed. Now, when I need to download the newest install root, I always choose the DISA link. They are the ones that actually distribute the new certificates, so I always choose that link. So what we're going to do is we're just going to right-click DISA, save target as, and the download should begin. We're just going to go ahead and save it to our desktop so it's easy to get. Let's go ahead and download that. Now, once it's done downloading, we're going to go ahead and run the program. Once this screen pops up, you're just going to click Next. You're going to click Next again, Next. You're basically going to click Next to everything and then Install. Now, once we have installed it, we're going to get this pop-up to Run Install Root. Go ahead and minimize this. If you get any of these certificate pop-ups, you're going to click Yes to all of them. You can go ahead and get rid of these instructions, as I'm going to show you how to use it anyways. Go ahead and exit out of that if that pops up. Now, the only thing you want to do in here is check the Restart as Administrator. So we're going to click Yes to that prompt. Click Yes to this prompt. And now it has restarted as Administrator, which we're going to click Yes to that certificate store. We're going to exit out of the Quick Start Guide again. And the only button in here you need to click is the Install Certificates button. Now you're going to get a few pop-ups. Sometimes you will get a few pop-ups that you'll just click OK to, and then you will get this certificate action summary. This verifies that it added 43 of 43 certificates. You can go ahead and just click OK to that. Once that is completed, you can go ahead and close out of Install Root. You're not going to need it anymore. You're going to click Yes to save, and then you're done with the easiest step. Now that that's completed, we're going to go back to militarycac.com. This is the same page that we were just on to download the DoD root certificates. You're going to go down the page past where it shows you exactly how to run the program, and then we're going to go down here to proceed to step 4, install active client. We're not going to do that right now. What we're going to do first is run the cross-cert removal tool. So we're going to go ahead and go to the next page. We're going to choose the military CAC version. Actually, we'll choose the DISA version. So we're going to do the same thing, save target as. You're going to download it to your desktop so it's easy to access. We're going to go ahead and open the folder. Let me go ahead and drag the screen back over here. Now when you open the folder, you're going to have 2 files in here. Go ahead and just highlight those because they're in a compressed folder. You're going to drag these onto your desktop, and then you can go ahead and close out of the zip file. Now you're going to need to run the one that actually says exe on it, which is this one, the .exe. So you can double click that. And you'll get this. Now all you have to do is hit enter, enter again, and then it'll automatically close. Now theoretically, this should remove all of the bad certificates from your computer, but we're going to double check just to make sure. Now this is where things are going to get a little bit different depending on if you are on Windows 10 or not. We need to open up Internet Explorer. Now on Windows 10, we automatically always use Edge. And so to open up Internet Explorer, you need to open up a web page and you need to go to the 3 dots on the top right corner over here. and then you will see the option to open with Internet Explorer. Now, if you guys are on Windows 7 or Windows 8, just go ahead and open up Internet Explorer and we'll be good to go. You can go ahead and close out of your Edge browser now. We're not going to need that anymore. And then you can go ahead and do that. Now, what I like to do for Internet Explorer is I like to pin it to my taskbar because we're going to need it a lot here in the future, and I don't want you to waste a whole bunch of time having to reopen that. Now, to verify that we have the proper certificates installed and the correct certificates removed from the computer, we need to go into our internet options. To do that, we're going to go to the gear icon on the top right corner, and then we're going to click Internet Options. Now, I want to minimize this a little bit so that you guys don't have a blinding white screen in your face. I'm going to go to Internet Options, and we're going to drag this over here. Now, the first thing I want to do is go to the General tab, which you should open up to, and then we're going to delete our browsing history. This is something that we need to do anyway, so I'm just going to get it out of the way now. So just go ahead and make sure you have Preserve Favorites, Temporary Internet Files, Cookies and Website Data, and History all checked, and then just go ahead and click Delete. Now, the next thing we need to do is we need to go to the Content tab, and then we're going to click Clear SSL State, and then we're going to click OK. Now, this is a very important button. Anytime you have a failed login attempt to, say, AKO, JKO, NKO, or enterprise email, you're going to want to go into your internet options and then click Clear SSL State. This will allow you to have a fresh login attempt once we figure out exactly what settings are incorrect or if you selected the wrong certificate. Now, if you ever do have a failed login attempt from selecting the wrong certificate, you're going to want to go into your internet options and then go to the Content tab and then click Clear SSL State. After you do this, you're going to need to close all of your web browsers, every single tab, every single browser that you have open, regardless if it's Chrome, Internet Explorer, Firefox. You need to close them all, and then you can try again with a fresh login attempt. Now that we've got that out of the way, we need to click the Certificates button. The first thing we're going to do on this is verify that we have all of our personal certificates. You should have 3 certificates in here, the 2 DoD emails and 1 DoD IDCA. The only time this will vary is if you are a dual persona, which means you currently or have had at one time 2 CAC cards at the same time. Now, if you are a dual persona and you're trying to access your enterprise email, you will need to load your PIV certificate before you're actually able to log in via the online web app. Now, loading the PIV certificate is a completely different animal than what we're trying to accomplish in this video. I may make a video specifically for that in the future, but for the purposes of this video, we're going to continue on with the 3 certificates that we have currently. Now, if you have more than 3 certificates, you may have duplicates, you may have other users on your computer as well. We want to remove all of them. So we want to make sure that you just have the 3 that you currently need, or if you are a dual persona and you do already have 4 certificates on your computer and you have other users as well, do not remove them because sometimes it is a pain to get the PIV certificate back onto the computer if you are using Windows 10. Now, if you do have duplicates, you can go ahead and just highlight all of these certificates in your window. To do that, you're going to need to scroll below all the certificates that you have, click in the white space, and drag below or drag across, and you'll be able to just click remove. Now, if you do have just the 3 certificates you need, you don't need to do this. I'm just showing you that it is okay to do that. And then to reload your certs, all you got to do is just close out of everything, close out of your web browser, and then take out your CAC card, reinsert it, and your certificates will be reloaded. So we can just go ahead and, I don't know why I opened Edge, open up Internet Explorer, go back into our internet options, go to the Content tab, certificates, and our 3 certificates will be loaded back in. Now that we've verified that our certificates are loading, we can go ahead and go to the Intermediate Certification Authorities tab. Now, this is where we're going to verify that we have all the certificates necessary to access government websites and all of the certificates that we need to have removed. So you're going to want to verify that you have all of these DoD CAs. So it should start from 27. It may start lower or higher depending on what you have. But if you go back to the Personal tab, you really just need to make sure you have the 33 series in there. But we're just going to verify we've got all the ones that we need, which is 27 through 32. And then you're going to hit DoD emails, which should be 27 through 44. There we go. And we have the rest of our DoD IDCAs, which is 33 through 44. And then we'll have the SWs, which is 35 through 48. Now, this is why I always double check after running the cross-cert removal tool, because it does not always remove the certs like it's supposed to. This is actually one of the certificates that we need removed, which is DoD Interoperability Root CA1. If you do see this certificate, you need to remove it. So we're going to go ahead and click yes to that prompt, and then we're going to look for a couple other certs as well. We need to look for SHA-1 Federal Root CA, which I do not see. We have Root CA, there's that one right there. So if you see SHA-1 Federal Root CA, you can go ahead and remove that one as well. I'll let you guys look at that for a second. SHA-1 Federal Root CA. You also see Federal Common Policy on the other side of it. We're going to go ahead and remove that. And then we're going to go ahead and look for more certs. These will most likely be 2 of each of the SHA-1s, which I believe we already removed both of those. And then there may be another Federal Common Policy or DoD Interoperability. If you see multiples of those, go ahead and remove them. As far as my computer, we do not have any more of the bad certificates on there. So once you have verified that you have both SHA-1s removed and both DoD Interoperability roots removed, you may also find an Entrust or a federal or another Federal Common Policy. Go ahead and just remove those if you do see them. I'll show you exactly which ones you need to have removed now. Here is the full list of certificates you need to make sure that are not in that Intermediate Certification Authorities tab. You need to make sure the Common Policies are removed, the Entrust, which will have the issued by from Common Policy or Entrust, and then possibly a VeriSign Digital ID certificate with the date expired. Now I'm going to leave this up here for a second so you guys can review this and make sure you do not have any of these certificates in that Intermediate Certification Authorities tab. Now that we have verified we have all the correct certificates installed and all of the bad certificates removed, we can go ahead and close out of this certificates window. After closing out of the certificates window, we're going to go ahead and go to the Connections tab. Once you're on the Connections tab, you can go ahead and click on LAN Settings, and then verify that you have none of these boxes checked. If you have Automatically Detect Settings checked, uncheck it, and then click OK. Once you have that done, you can go ahead and go to the Security tab. On the Security tab, you're going to want to click on Trusted Sites, and then you need to verify that the slider is set to medium. If it says custom level in here, all you need to do is click on Default Level, and it should automatically set up your computer to be set to medium. Once you have verified that your slider is set to medium, there are a few things later on in here that we may need to edit, but for now we're going to leave our trusted sites alone. On some computers, you're going to need to make sure that you do not have any .mil websites added to this website zone, but we will get to that later on if we do encounter an error when trying to log in. Now we are going to go ahead and go to the Advanced tab. Inside of the Advanced tab, you're going to see this Browsing section. Within the Browsing section, the 9th option down or the 3rd asterisk down, you will see Enable Third-Party Browser Extensions. You need to make sure this is not checked. If it is checked, uncheck it. Once you have done that, we're going to go down all the way down to the bottom, and you should see a few different options down here. On most computers, you will see Use SSL 2.0 and 3.0, and then TLS 1.0, 1.1, and 1.2. Now, the settings we need to have selected in this field will vary depending if you are on Windows 7, Windows 8, or Windows 10, or even Windows 10 Anniversary Edition. Now we're going to go ahead and get the Windows 10 Anniversary Edition settings out of the way now because it is very easy to tell from this screen if you are using the Windows 10 Anniversary Edition. Now if you do not see a Use SSL 2.0, that means you are using the Windows 10 Anniversary Edition or a more secure version of Windows. So we're going to go ahead and make sure we have Use SSL 3.0 checked and Use TLS 1.0 checked. Now we're going to uncheck 1.1 and 1.2. Now these specific settings are only if you do not have a Use SSL 2.0 as an option. Now having your SSLs and TLSs selected just like this may be an option if none of the variations we do after this work to get you logged in, so just remember that this is also an option later on down the road. Now, for those of you that do have the Use SSL 2.0 option, we're going to select a couple of different settings. Now, these settings may apply to the people who do not have the Use SSL 2.0 in the future, but for now, for the people that do not have the Use SSL 2.0 feature, you're going to keep these settings. You may need to change these later on down the road if you encounter an error, which you will then follow the settings that I'm using after this. But for those of you that currently do have the Use SSL 2.0 option, you're going to use these. You're going to make sure you uncheck Use SSL 3.0, and then you're going to make sure you have TLS 1.0 checked, TLS 1.1 checked, and TLS 1.2 checked. These are the basic settings you want to start with all computers. Now, they may not always work. There may be a variation in these that we have to mess around with just to make sure that your computer is happy with the settings. But for now, we're going to go ahead and give this a shot. So you're going to click Apply, and then you're going to click OK. Now we can go ahead and log into AKO. Now, I do not recommend going to AKO from Google or using a favorites button. I always recommend when troubleshooting to actually type it in, not to mention there are fake websites that you can go to from Google, so I do not recommend doing that. I always recommend typing it in. If you do not know the web address, it is https://www.us.army.mil. It should take you to the DoD consent banner, which you have to click accept to. If you're using a favorites tab that you do not click the accept, it may not work. So I always recommend going to the main page and clicking accept. Once you're here, you're going to make sure you select the CAC or PIV login, and then you're going to go ahead and click sign in. And we're going to confirm our certificates. Now we need to make sure we select our DoD IDCA certificate. If this says email, you do not want to select it. You need to make sure you select your DoD ID certificate. After we select that, we should be able to log in. We'll verify here in a second. We're going to type in our PIN number. And we should be good to go. We may get a page cannot be displayed error where we will have to edit our TLS and SSL settings, but as you can see, I was able to log in just fine. Now, if you did get a page cannot be displayed error, I will show you the variation in settings that we need to change when we try to log into the OWA. To log into your enterprise email via the online web app, we're going to go ahead and just type in the web address for the OWA. Now, you could just click the email button here if you have that, but that may disappear in the future, so I'm not going to use that as the route. We're just going to go ahead and type in the https://web.mail.mil, which should take us to the USG consent banner, where we're going to go ahead and click OK. And then you're going to make sure you select your DoD email certificate. Now, if you are a dual persona and you have a PIV certificate, you will have two DoD IDCAs pop up, and you'll need to make sure you select your PIV certificate. It should say PIV on the certificate, but if it does not, you will know you selected the wrong one when you get an F5 error. Now, if you do get the F5 error, you will need to clear your SSL state and then try the other certificate. But for now, we're just going to go ahead and select our email certificate, and then we're going to click OK. We're going to type in our PIN number when it prompts us. And then we should get brought to a page with another link on it. Now, there may be an instance where we see the page cannot be displayed error, which means we will have to change our TLS and SSL settings, but I did not get it, thankfully. Now we're going to go ahead and click the link there to bring us back to the USG consent banner. We're going to go ahead and log in again. I'm going to type in our PIN number again. And then it should bring us actually into our online web app, where we'll be able to view all of our emails. And there we go. Now, if you did receive an error when trying to log into your enterprise email, whether that's a page cannot be displayed error or an F5 error, then I'll show you the steps you need to do to remedy that issue. Now, if you did get an F5 error, you need to clear your SSL state because it means you selected the wrong certificate, or you're a dual persona and you need to have your PIV certificate loaded. Regardless, if you did get the F5 error or the page cannot be displayed error, you need to click your clear SSL state button before we continue. Now, if you did get the F5 error, you need to go ahead and try and log back in and make sure you select your email certificate, or if you have a PIV certificate, you need to select your PIV certificate. If you are able to log in at that point, then you should be good to go. Now, if you did get a page cannot be displayed error, you're going to go ahead and follow the next steps. What we can go ahead and do now, if you got the page cannot be displayed error, is we're going to go to the Advanced tab. You're going to scroll all the way down to the bottom, and you're going to change these settings. You're going to go ahead and check SSL 3.0. You're going to click Apply, and then you're going to click OK, and you're going to go back to https://web.mail.mil. And then you're going to go ahead and go through the login process again. This may work for me with these settings. We'll see. I may now get the page cannot be displayed error, but we'll find out here in just a second. Now, if you're able to log in with these current settings, then you should be good to go. I look like I'm going to actually be able to log in with these settings as well. So let's hope that that is the case. Now, if you get a page cannot be displayed error at any point in time, I will show you another variation in settings that you can use. Looks like I was able to log in this time, so I'm going to go ahead and sign out, close the window, yes, and then we're going to go ahead and try again. Now, if you did get the page cannot be displayed error again, you're going to go back to your internet options. You're going to go to the Advanced tab, and you're going to scroll all the way down to the bottom, and you're going to turn off TLS 1.1 and 1.2. Now, these are back to the settings that we originally set up for the Windows 10 Anniversary Edition users. So you're going to go ahead and click Apply, and then click OK. Now, you're going to go ahead and go to the military, or to the OWA again, which is https://web.mail.mil. Now, I will also show you why you do not go to it from Google, if I can do that. See, now if you do it from Bing or Google, and then you try and click the first one, which looks like the right website, you're going to automatically get this page cannot be displayed error, which is what a lot of people do. So if that happens, you just need to make sure you actually go to the website and try and log in. All right, now that we've got those settings, we're going to go ahead and try and log in again. Now, since I do have all the bad certificates, any of these settings will most likely work for me. I also do not have any firewall or antivirus preventing me from being able to access any websites, where if that is the case, I'm not going to be able to help you set up your firewall or antivirus. Please do not ask me to. I will not do it. But any of these settings should be able to get you to log in. You just have to figure out which ones your computer is happy with. And it looks like all of these are working for me currently. Now, if you are still experiencing the page cannot be displayed error when you try and log into your enterprise email, or you are not able to select the correct certificates, and you are on Windows 7 or Windows 10, we may need to do one of these two steps. If you're on Windows 7, you're going to need to download Active Client, which I'll show you how to do in a second. But if you are on Windows 10, we're going to go ahead and go to the How to Use Your CAC with Windows 10 link. We're going to scroll down, and we're going to see solution number 2, Smart Card Manager. We're going to go ahead and click the Smart Card Manager download. We're going to go ahead and select Run, and it's going to go ahead and open after it downloads. We're going to go ahead and click Yes to that prompt. The screen may have blacked out. That was just the administrator prompt. Click Yes to it, and you're going to go ahead and click Next. Next, I agree. Next, Install. You're going to let it install wherever it wants to. It's going to go through the whole process. You're going to see a couple screens flash up. That's fine. You'll be prompted with Next again once this is done. We're going to go ahead and click Next. And then we're going to make sure that the Register Certificates Now is selected. We're going to go ahead and click Finish. You're going to need to enter your PIN number. The code is going to go through there, and then you're going to press any key to continue, and then you will be done. Now, we're going to go ahead and try and log back into the OWA if you're on Windows 10 and you've completed these steps. Let's go ahead and log back in again. You can do web.mail.mil, and we're going to go ahead and log in again. Now, you'll see that these certificate selections are a little bit different, so we're going to go ahead and just make sure, once again, that you select your email certificate. If you are a dual persona, you will select your PIB certificate, which will be one of these two IDCAs. I'm not a dual persona, so I'm going to select my email cert, and you're going to go through the same process as before. You're going to type in your PIN number. You'll get prompted to click this link, and then you'll go ahead and log in again. We know that I can log in already, so I'm not going to go ahead and do that. Now, at this point, you should be able to log in. If you still get the page cannot be displayed error with the Smart Card Manager installed, you're going to need to go ahead and go to the Advanced tab, and then just change these settings and mess around with them back to the settings that we were using before, because sometimes the smart card manager, as you can see, will change the settings, which is what happened to me here, even though I can still log in with these settings. Let's just verify that real quick. And I'm able to log in. So let's go ahead and just sign out of there real quick. Close window. Yes. But as you can see, the smart card manager did edit the settings in the advanced tab. We want to make sure that the enable third-party browser extensions is still unchecked. And we'll scroll down, and then you're going to want to mess with these settings again. So you can just go back to that point in the video where I walk through all the different variations and settings you can use to log in, and you'll just pick one of those settings, and one of those settings should work. Now, for the Windows 7 users, you may have to download Active Client, which we'll go ahead and do now. So you're just going to go to the Military CAC homepage, and then you're going to click on Step 4, Active Client. Now, if you are Army, Air Force, this will all work for you, but you select your branch. We are going to go ahead and do the Army one. And then down here, you will see Windows 7 and 8 users. If you have a Gemalto CAC, these are some of the settings you'll have to go through. Most people should not have these CAC cards anymore, but if you do have these CAC cards, you may experience the page cannot be displayed error, and just go ahead and just follow the guide for that. Read more about older CACs, you can go ahead and do that. But for Windows 7, we're just going to go ahead and go down here. If you have 64-bit or 32-bit, you select your link that you need. We're going to go ahead and do the 64-bit, and we're going to log into AKO. Make sure you select the CAC or PIV login. And then go ahead and log in with your DoD ID certs. And once we log in, we should be prompted to the download page. You're just going to go ahead and click the checkbox and then click download. We're going to go ahead and click download again, and the download should begin. Now, I cannot install this on Windows 10. If you do install Active Client on Windows 10, it will break everything and you need to uninstall it. You will not be able to log into AKO or Enterprise Email with the actual Active Client installed. I'll go ahead and open it up, and basically all you do is you just click next to everything and let it install where it wants to. You're going to have to restart your computer, and then you should be able to log in. You may have to edit the TLS and SSL settings and variations. You may have to try all the variations we tried earlier in the video, but pretty much just install this and then try and log in, and you should be good to go. Now, at this point, if you are still having trouble and you're on Windows 7 or Windows 10 and you have already installed Active Client or Smart Card Manager and tried all the different variations for the TLS and SSL settings and made sure that you actually went into your internet options, go to the Content tab, clear SSL state in between each attempt, and you've closed all of your web browsers in between each attempt because the settings do not save until you close the web browser, then you can go ahead and do the following step. You can go ahead and open up your internet options. Then you're going to go to the Security tab. You're going to click on Trusted Sites. Then you're going to click on Sites, and then you can add this website to the Trusted Sites zone. You're going to type in https://*mail.mil. Go ahead and add that to the website's field. This is a placeholder for all of the OWA pods that will allow you to log into them. So you go ahead and close out of that. And you're going to click OK. You're going to close out of all of the web browsers. You're going to reopen Internet Explorer. And then you're going to go ahead and try and log back into the OWA, which is web.mail.mil. Do not try and Google it. It doesn't work. And then we're going to click OK. This may prevent me from being able to log in. We'll find out in a second. I'm going to go ahead and click the link. Click that again, and we should be good to go. Now, in some cases, we don't add that earlier in the video because sometimes that will actually break it and will not allow you to log in. That's why we only do it as a last attempt at the end. Now, if you are still having issues logging in after this, that means you probably have a firewall or antivirus issue, or you had messed with the settings before we started all of this and messed something up that we have not fixed. So if you're still having issues, you're going to need to go into your internet options. You're going to need to go to the Advanced tab. You're going to click the Restore Advanced Settings. And then you're going to click the reset button as well. You're going to restart your computer, and then you are going to start from scratch. You're going to do every single step over again. Make sure you do not skip a single step, and then you should be good to go. Now, if you still have issues, you can go ahead and leave a comment with questions, and I'll try and get back to them as soon as I can. But as long as you do all of these steps just like I did, I set this computer up from scratch, you should be good to go. But if you guys do have further issues, go ahead and leave a comment below. Make sure that you verify that nobody else has asked the question already, because I'd like to keep the comments to a minimum if possible. That way people who are currently having issues can view the comments easier. Now, I hope this video did help you guys get logged in. If you did like the video, don't forget to hit that like button. Now, if some of you are still having trouble logging in after doing all these steps, resetting your advanced settings, resetting this, and you've gone through all the steps again, exactly how I have gone through them, go ahead and leave a comment below with the exact error that you've gone through, and we may be able to find a different issue, but it most likely is your firewall or antivirus. I cannot advise on that at all. I am sorry. But go ahead and leave any questions you have in the comments below. Verify that nobody else has asked the same question, that I have not responded to it already, so that way anyone who is having issues is able to view any possible remedies quickly. Now, last but not least, anytime your computer goes through a major update, all of these settings may be reset and you may not be able to access AKO or enterprise email again. So that means you're going to have to do all of these steps over again. Now, if you do end up having to do these steps over again, I highly recommend doing the restore advanced settings and then resetting your Internet Explorer settings, and then just going through all these steps again and updating your DoD certificates. You're going to have to make sure those are up to date every few months. But otherwise, I hope this video helped you guys out, and if you did like the video, just go ahead and hit that like button so that hopefully other people will be able to view this video as well. And I hope you guys have a great day. Bye.